When we started, we had $0, an old mower, a shovel, and a pickup truck. Together with Farming Genius, we've been steadily growing our farm on this flat map. We're now on the ultimate final stretch to achieve our grand goal, making millions of dollars and constructing a massive mega farm. Our very latest investment was leasing the Kronbig M 450 mower, a significant addition. This specific model also allows for an attachment at the rear of the baler, which really saves us a significant amount of time. We mow grass, we make rows, and at the same time, we make grass bales. I had to drive over and unload the worker who's harvesting the wheat because he had stopped working due to his tank being completely full. We had mowed the grass and made rows earlier, but now we urgently need to bale it all up. However, it was discovered that our account balance had plummeted below zero, causing our workers to cease operations entirely, as they simply refused to continue working without proper compensation. Thus, we're selling wool for a profit of $25,000, and additionally, selling furniture yields another $29,000. Overall, we've accumulated more than $51,000, and now it's crucial to complete the mowing, gather all the grass bales scattered across the fields, and transport them directly to the fermenting silo. Due to its high efficiency, we've completely abandoned the practice of creating round bales and meticulously wrapping them in foil. We just transport everything directly to the fermenting silo, which processes the grass into silage and then distributes it straight to the biogas plant. Thanks to the trailer with an auto-load feature, collecting the grass is incredibly quick and efficient. We've successfully transported all the baled grass, and now we're ready to fast forward time by several months. Several months passed, and after that, I took on the task of decorating the area, while Farming Genius dedicated itself to selling all the goods we had successfully managed to produce. Thanks to that, we now have $515,000 in our account. Since we've accumulated so much money, I can definitely splurge a bit and set up some fences, plant some bushes, and really spruce up this area. I'll also make some pathways to enhance the overall aesthetic. Before they were narrow and small, but let's do this properly now. And right here, I'll put up a shed for $24,000, a place where we'll park our machines. Farming Genius was busy selling all the goods we had produced, but he completely forgot to sell the eggs. Therefore, I took on the task of selling the eggs, and we have a really large quantity of them. This specific haul brought us an additional $170,000, meaning we now have over $600,000 in our account. At this point in the game, we've essentially taken on the role of farm managers. Our primary responsibility is to supervise the workers, ensuring they perform their duties correctly, emptying their tanks, and assigning them additional tasks to complete. And if you'd also like to play on this map and with the modifications we're using here, or on any of my other maps, I highly encourage you to visit my Patreon, because that's where I share absolutely everything with all of my dedicated patrons. The link is in the description, of course. We'll soon be able to invest our money in another biogas plant. We need just under $1 million for it, $975,000 to be exact. This action will significantly boost our earning potential. I'm going to park the combine harvester, and then I'll head to the chicken coop to sell the pallets that have appeared since the last sale. I'll be honest, I was quite surprised because there are truly so many pallets here, and it hasn't even been 2 in-game hours since the last sale, so that's a very short amount of time indeed. Apparently the pallets just didn't spawn earlier because there was no room for them to appear. They were patiently awaiting their turn. There's also the other option, that we've got some kind of turbo-mutated chickens that lay that many eggs in just 2 hours, but honestly, that's simply not as convincing, at least not to me. I'll leave this up to your judgment. The comment section is completely yours. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Was it mutated chickens, or were the eggs just waiting in line? Our worker in this field has just one more row left to bale, so very soon we will have gathered all of the straw that remained after the harvest had been completed. I just told you we were abandoning making and wrapping bales, but we've actually gone back to it. This is a much faster method if we want to earn money quickly, rather than just producing silage for the biogas plant. I sold a trailer of soybeans. That gave us an extra few tens of thousands. I'm parking this trailer now and heading into the shop. We definitely need to get a self-loading trailer with auto-load, and that biogas plant I mentioned earlier too. Additionally, I also installed another fermenting silo, which will enable us to ferment silage faster, ensuring our biogas plants can operate at 100% of their full capacity. I'm really trying to make this farm look quite good, so I went ahead and added another little pathway. It's a small, rather narrow path, but it's something, and it means we won't have to drive on the grass. The first transport is already on its way to the new fermenting silo. Naturally, I had to kickstart all the operations so that everything could be produced and efficiently distributed to the biogas plant. I thought it would be a rather splendid idea to plant a few trees. This will give our farm a much more interesting, lively appearance. It won't be so boring and quite plain. I'll most likely never cut these trees down. As I mentioned, they're predominantly for decorative purposes. I'm emptying the forage harvester's tank right now, so the worker can continue harvesting the corn. There are maybe 2 more passes left to complete this field, which is just perfect. I will still need to transport all of this over to the fermenting silo. Let me remind you, we recently constructed another biogas plant, which means this time the profits should be considerably larger. We'll soon find out exactly how much money we actually managed to earn when we fast forward through time. I didn't really want to drive the trailer all the way over there again, so I just unloaded the combine's contents directly into the fermenting silo. The worker has now completed his task in the field, having mowed down all the corn entirely. The tank wasn't full this time, but I unloaded it all into the second fermenting silo. Farming Genius and I stood there by the fermenting silo, and then we fast forwarded time a good few months into the future. During that time, our account balance went over 537,000. I loaded the trailer with eggs, bread and wool, which generated almost 130,000 in profit. Farming Genius and I decided it was time to expand our road network, so we started building out our infrastructure even further. I headed to the shop and began painting a wide, straight road right across the entire map, effectively splitting it into 2 sections. From this main road, I'll then be able to easily mark out all my fields for grass mowing. Oh, and it just reminded me that we still have quite a few bales left to collect. Farming Genius already started collecting them here, but well, he didn't finish. Therefore, I had to take on this task myself, and I've already managed to sell the first transport. Now I'm loading up the second one. Yes, it got a little crooked on me here, unfortunately. I sold the second load of bales, and our account balance passed $1 million. However, it was only for a short time, as I immediately rented 2 additional Krone Big M mowers. In addition to those mowers, I also leased some baling presses that simultaneously wrap the grass, which would allow us to produce silage even more quickly. I just delivered another transport of grass to the fermenting silo. Afterward, I immediately started extending the road that leads directly from our silo to the field where the mowers are currently operating. I recalled there was still another mower equipped with a baler located at the shop, so I went and retrieved it. I transported it to the field using my newly constructed road, and then designated an area for the employee I had hired to create and wrap the bales. Meanwhile, I took on the task of gathering and transporting yet another substantial load of grass to the fermentation silo. There are quite a few bales lying here, and more are being made. Therefore, we need to transport everything to the fermenting silos as quickly as possible, ensuring the silage reaches the biogas plant promptly to generate significant income for us. To even further accelerate and significantly boost our earning potential, we decided to construct some wind turbines and several rental houses. I thought it would be worthwhile to decorate the area around these houses a bit, so the renters would have a slightly better view, and maybe they'd be more inclined to rent. Of course, I know that's not how things actually work in this game, but at least everything looks a little bit better, doesn't it? It makes some sense, and of course I also fenced it off from the shop. I added some lounge chairs and slides for them, and just like that, a miniature neighborhood of tiny rental homes was established. For the next few months, our workers mowed grass, made bales, and wrapped everything. Farming Genius and I were also taking care of that. A bit of time went by, and our account balance reached a whopping $1.5 million. The very first expense we had with that money was renting a New Holland combine harvester, equipped with a header exceeding 13 meters in width. Our fields are covered with numerous fermented grass bales, meaning we have a huge amount of transport work ahead to sell off all this produce. At the same time, I also have to make sure to unload the workers so they can keep working without any interruptions. We had $1.5 million in our account, so we absolutely had to invest it. And we poured that investment into building yet another biogas plant, along with an additional fermenting silo. While I was at it, I also extended our road, which now actually runs across the entire map, splitting it in half, and I connected it to the other roads near our biogas plant. Following the unloading of the wheat tank, I then proceeded to gather additional bales of grass, which will be used to nourish our flock of sheep. I haven't even had the opportunity to show you the sheep pen that Farming Genius constructed here. This is indeed the sheepfold, and I need to drive right inside to offload the grass that our sheep will be able to graze on. Our worker in the wheat field is about to have a full tank again, so I went ahead to unload him, and I realized the trailer was almost completely full already. So, I'm taking all this over to the chicken coop to make sure the chickens have something to eat. There's quite a bit of it, so spreading it out takes a little while, but at least now we'll be able to collect even more wheat from our workers. Next, it's a food delivery for our sheep, and then I'm heading back to gather up all the silage bales that need to be sold. There's truly a massive amount of it, so I absolutely must get to it right away. After selling a few loads of silage, we've already got over $480,000 in our account. At this point, just to mix things up a bit, I went on a little trip. And that particular journey involved the extensive task of loading all the pallets that had been produced in our various facilities, in addition to the pallets filled with eggs and the wool. Thanks to that sale, over $860,000 landed in our account. And that's not all. I still had to sell the croquettes, which brought in an extra $108,000, plus one load of silage bales that pushed us over $1 million in the bank. At this point, I had to once again get back to unloading the tanks of the combine harvesters our workers are driving as they're busy harvesting the wheat. We're diligently trying our best to ensure there are no delays and everything is unloaded promptly, keeping operations smooth. Our truck's trailer was almost completely full, so I drove directly to the chicken coop to unload all of the collected wheat. Meanwhile, as I was busy feeding our chickens, Farming Genius went ahead and hired a new worker to harvest the corn. That employee had just filled his tank completely, reaching 100% capacity, so I had to quickly unload all of it and transport it directly to the fermenting silo. In the meantime, Farming Genius continues to provide us with steady cash injections by selling the various silage bales that are conveniently lying out on the field. At this point, our work had become exceedingly monotonous. We constantly had to transport corn to the fermenting silo, then grass to the fermenting silo, unload the harvesters, and continuously ensure everything was operating precisely as it needed to be. And simultaneously, we also employed workers who were busy mowing grass and creating grass bales, allowing us to gather even more of them. After being fed, our sheep produced 19,000 liters of wool. I went to sell that, and we ended up earning $90,000 from it. If you've managed to stick with it until this very moment, I highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. Feel free to leave a comment, for example, something like "Harvest in full swing," and please mention which country you're watching from. It's because I'm making these dubbed videos, and I'm really curious to know which country you're all watching from. And if you have any feedback on this video, or perhaps some additional creative ideas on what more we could possibly come up with, please do let me know. I decided to add another beehive here, and some greenhouses. Greenhouses for 200,000, actually 3 of them. So in total, I spent 600,000 on greenhouses, plus automatic water filling tanks. The productions are filled up, so I started to fast forward time and just look at how the money is rolling in. 4 months have passed in game time, and our account balance is almost $2.5 million. We're not slowing down our pace. Our employees are constantly working. The cornfield has already been 70% harvested. I think there will be about 3 or 4 more transports from it. We must unload all of this and transport it to the fermenting silo as quickly as possible. This is crucial. This is the very last stretch to get the corn harvest wrapped up. Farming Genius is in the combine, already set to bring it back to our farm, and I'm delivering all of this, just like always, to the fermenting silo. We have over $2.5 million in our account, but we're certainly not stopping there. Several months went by and our chickens laid an abundance of eggs. A lot of wool was also produced, and overall, all the production facilities made a ton of pallets. And naturally, all the bales that were lying out in the fields have also fermented for us. In that short time, we sold so much of everything that we've already passed $3 million in the account. Our furniture factory ran out of wood, so I had to start cutting down these trees that, as I mentioned earlier, were originally meant solely for decorative purposes. However, they will now be utilized for furniture production instead. Maybe they'll become a wardrobe, or perhaps a daybed, we'll see. For the time being, this amount of wood is absolutely sufficient for our needs. We have more than enough to proceed with our current projects, and even some to spare. So I'm parking the tractor on our farm's grounds and then making my way to the shop. We're purchasing, or more precisely, leasing the biggest mower available to us in the mods, so let's get started with the mowing process. Unfortunately, this mower doesn't automatically create rows, so we'll have to rake everything separately with a raker, but we'll certainly find a way to manage it. We just absolutely had to tick this item off our list and make sure we use the biggest mower that we have readily available to us. After all, we're building a mega farm, so, we have to use the biggest equipment. Mowing a meadow this big with this mower, it literally takes no time at all. Its working width is truly substantial, and well, as I mentioned earlier, there's absolutely nothing larger we could possibly employ, at least not within the mower category. That's precisely why, concerning the really large equipment, I recently rented a New Holland track tractor, costing over $40,000, and it came with an absolutely enormous cultivator attached. I'll assign a worker to handle this, while I proceed with selling more of our farm's products. After successfully selling a substantial amount of wool, eggs, honey, furniture, and all the other valuable products we've meticulously cultivated and produced on our farm, we are thrilled to announce that our account now holds an impressive $5,300,000. That's precisely why we made the decision to invest $1 million into a really large cow pasture. It can hold 500 cows and comes with an automatic feeding system. We also had to fill that pasture with cows, so 500 cows cost about $1 million. So in total, almost $2 million went into this pasture. We invested additional millions into expanding our wind farm, more precisely, into building a brand new wind farm in a location where none had existed previously. And if that wasn't enough, we also made the decision to set up 10 solar panels and a handful of rental homes. As you already know, I appreciate a visually appealing environment, so I took charge of decorating the area, constructing new paths, planting trees, and generally tidying up the entire surroundings to ensure it looked pleasant. During this period, Farming Genius secured a massive seed drill, leasing it, and enlisted a worker to sow wheat for us on the most expansive field we had cultivated thus far. I returned and saw we still had 1,600,000, so I decided to expand the housing development I'd built earlier, and then I decorated everything to perfectly match what I had already done on the other side. To provide sustenance for our cows, we embarked on the task of drying grass, forming it into bales, and naturally, transporting all of it directly to the automated feeding system within our expansive cow pasture. It needs silage, it needs straw, and it needs hay, that is to say, dried grass, for everything to be complete. After we successfully produced enough food for our cows, I began sprucing up our farm's grounds. To be more precise, I enlarged the area and erected additional shelters. I installed fences, created new entrances, and thoroughly embellished the entire area, meticulously arranging everything to accommodate the parking of additional new machines that we acquired throughout our gameplay. In my honest opinion, everything turned out quite nicely, but I'll let you all be the judges of that in the comments section. After I completed the farm expansion, I returned to selling the bales that were still out in the field. There's a real ton of them here. Farming Genius was constantly working, trying to sell as much as possible. And besides, you can see the account balance yourself. However, that increase to 5 million wasn't just because of silage sales. As you can probably tell, a few months have gone by, and so the cotton that Farming Genius planted earlier has also grown quite a bit. But our biogas plants and renewable energy sources were what truly generated the most profit for us. Now we are operating on a massive scale, transporting wholesale quantities of bales. The workers are helping us transport them, bringing them to the sell point. We sell them and collect the profit. Another worker is responsible for harvesting the cotton from the field that Farming Genius had planted earlier. It's not an enormous field, but I definitely believe we should be able to add a solid 200,000 to our account balance, all thanks to this cotton crop. The work on the cotton field is finally complete, so we went ahead and fast-forwarded time. Just take a look at how rapidly our account balance is steadily increasing. It's really quite impressive. Nearly $9 million. That's the amount we've managed to gather in our account, quite a respectable sum indeed, but we still have a very substantial amount of inventory left to sell. From all the cotton we successfully harvested, we made around 400,000, but that's not all, because there's still a significant amount of silage waiting to be sold. Look at how many tractors are pulling up here. These are all workers driving on autopilot. To expand this farm to this extent and earn such a significant amount of money, Farming Genius and I had to spend about 40 hours playing the game here. Fortunately, we were able to reach our objective and grow this farm to such an enormous scale. It's now up to all of you in the comments to judge whether we successfully completed this challenge or not. From my perspective, we were certainly successful in completing this challenge. And finally, for the grand finale, we're going to sell absolutely everything we possibly can here. We'll then fast forward time, allowing our biogas plants to generate the maximum possible electricity, which in turn will funnel as much cash as possible into our account. If you've managed to stick with us until this point, and genuinely believe we've earned your subscription and a like, then I wholeheartedly encourage you to hit that subscribe button. Let us know in the comments that you made it to the end. The link to Farming Genius's channel is in the description, of course. And so, we're concluding this episode with a balance of $14 million and a rather substantial, significantly expanded farm. But you'll be the judge of that, like I said before. See you in the next episodes.